Hi, it's Leanne, and I am here today with a review of From a Low and Quiet Sea by Donal, which is the 8th book in my Man Booker Prize Longlist read-along this year. Now, From a Low and Quiet Sea is, I think, the shortest book on the long list this year. It is just under 200 pages. It tells us about three men. The stories of these three men are almost written as just short stories, just contained stories, about 50 pages each. But we get a clue as to how the book's going to go at the very start when the first man, Farouk, who I don't think it actually states where he's from, but we kind of assume he's Syrian because he's taking his family. He's looking for a life in the West with his family, to get away from the war that is taking place where they currently live. So Farouk is telling his daughter a story about trees and about how trees all work for each other, that they are all connected, and they help each other when they're sick. You know, trees have this relationship that we wouldn't necessarily expect. And as you can probably guess, the three stories that we deal with in this book at the end kind of come together again in ways that you wouldn't necessarily expect them to. So we have these three men, Farouk, the Syrian, and we have one young Irish man who is in his early 20s, and another older Irish man who seems to be at the end of his life. They all seem very different, but they're all dealing with kind of the same themes in their lives. They're all dealing with thoughts of death and having to face decisions that they've made or had forced on them, that are kind of changing their future. They're facing this unknown future that none of them really know what to expect from. And like I say, they kind of all come together at the end, and this book is essentially about the connections between humanity and the ties that bind us all together. So like I say, it's quite a short book, and as a result, this review is going to be quite short as well, because while I enjoyed the book, I thought the writing was really thoughtful. It was considered. Every word was there for a reason, which I always enjoy. You know, I love reading a book where you can just tell that so much thought and precision has gone into every part of it. So the experience of reading the book I really liked. But while I found that this is the old cliche basically, there was lots to admire in this book in terms of the way in these very short stories Donal made us care about these three characters, especially the first two, especially Farouk, and I'm terrible, I cannot remember the name of the second one, but the young lad. We really do begin to feel an affection for them. But I never felt that this affection was enough. So, like I said, there was lots to admire in this book, but there wasn't anything that I really fell in love with particularly. It was just one of those books that was kind of a nice reading experience, but nothing that blew me mind or that I'm going to take away and insist on sharing with everybody I know. This affection that I felt for the two characters, it wasn't enough to make me massively care about how everything was going to come together. The ending, I have to say, was surprising. I'm not going to give any spoilers, but I didn't expect the three men to come together the way that they did, and I enjoyed figuring out how it was going to come about. But once I'd closed the book, I didn't really give it a second thought. It was a nice book. It it was a sad book at times. Like I said, the writing is lovely and these characters are really well thought out. And maybe it's just me. Maybe I should have loved it more than I did. But I never really felt for it the way I wanted to feel for it. I think it could possibly make the shortlist, especially because it has the very, the current event of the Syrian families escaping from war, going through, dangerous situations to try and find a better life for their families. That on its own, and especially because Farouk's part of the book is so well laid out, that could get it a nomination on the shortlist. I don't think it will make my personal shortlist, but I have 4 books to go, so you never know. But like I say, it's a short read. It's a read that you can basically get through in one sitting, and I recommend reading it. I don't think anybody's going to read this book and feel like they've wasted their time, but I don't expect it to be one that I'll remember at the end of the year, for example. So that is that. I'm having a little break now. I'm waiting for the next books to arrive from the library. I'm hoping for a call from the library today because I know that some of them have been in transit for a few days. So I'm trying to catch up on my other reading, and then hopefully I'll be able to power through the last books before the shortlist is announced in a couple of weeks. So I will probably be back with a roundup of my other non-booker reads in the next few days. But until then, happy reading, and I will see you soon. Bye bye.